When actions are good natured and genuine purpose are behind our appearances, it can make a world of a difference. It can sometimes be the turning point between someone giving up or continuing forward. Malik often makes that choice, being deeply invested in the communities around Columbus. His motives are simple, but deeply rooted in culture and ancestry. His outpouring of support and his ability to listen to all is guided by something we all need: love. Let's dive right in. There's one instance that always cracks me up is when we were doing a video with Easton Run Club and I gave everybody one word to say and you had two. And
I remember that.
Look, everyone gave me such a hard time about it. I'm like, there's only one person that I would allow to have two, and it's what you said was community love. So your word, if there's anybody that embodies love, it's obviously you, in my personal opinion. So your word is obviously love. And my question to you is, what does that mean to you, the word love, and how has that impacted your running and walking journey?
Oh wow! So that's beautiful. Thank you by that, because that's a high compliment and praise. But that is not a brand or a personality trait that I can take for myself. I have to take it from whichever ancestor that my mother's line came from, and even my father's. He had his own way of love, but my mother was a person of love. Like, mom was all love. And any of her children or grandchildren who got to spend a significant amount of time with her will tell you that. And so we come about in such a way that not for ourselves are we born. Cicero said that. But it's honestly the fuel for them. If you tend to forget why you show up for things, then love is always a key ingredient. So my brother Cornell says, which he prays over the food that he makes.
Yeah.
Because it's a loving craft for him. So showing up the way that you do. Like when you're not merely putting on a costume, you're showing up in such a way, to me that's love. Because of the amount of strangers who just happen to be like, oh my God. And they're excited.
Yeah.
But just because you engage them, it could be woo. It don't even have to be a word. But when you put your hand on someone's shoulder, that's the transference of love, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I believe that we show up for ourselves first, of course, but everything is about a level of Ubuntu. And of course, Ubuntu, for many of us, we understand it as a Zulu word, but if you go back, it's a Kosa or Kosa.
Yeah.
It is the embodiment of love within humanity, and us being all inextricably connected, even when we don't know that we're connected.
Yeah.
It's my fuel. It is one of the first lessons that I've learned. Without a teacher, without pen and paper, it was watching my mother at work.
Wow.
And how she had exchanges in the community, and then watching my siblings at work and how there were no strangers that showed up at the house.
Yeah.
So community love is important. Showing up in that way is important. Even if there's a loss of everything else, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does make a lot of sense.
And Ubuntu is I am because we are. And it comes from what would be considered an African philosophy, primarily credited to the southern part of Africa, Zulu. But if you go across the African continent, it shows up.
Yeah.
Maybe not exact same language, but it shows up in many different ways, because we know there are thousands of languages and even more dialects. So that is what drives me. That is what feels good. Even when it's exhausting work, it feels good. It's the most gratifying thing I can think of.
Wow, I never thought it was that deep, because I feel like how I've known you've it's always been just a natural thing for you. to always exemplify and show love to others. For those, whether they need it or don't, it's always been it's always felt like second nature to you. So the other question I would have for you is, how would you encourage others to show that in the different spaces? We mentioned we both interact with a lot of different companies or a lot of different groups, whether walking groups, running groups, all around the city. What things do you take with you that really help you push that towards others, so that way they can take inspiration from and hopefully take something back from that, so that way they can share that same love to others?
Being kind and gentle to ourselves first. You hear it all the time, and you might be one of those people. I'm my worst critic.
Yeah.
It starts with self-love.
Yeah.
And that's not always an easy task.
Yeah.
It seems like it. Even when people who are considered selfish or self-centered, self-absorbed, like some of them people do not love themselves as much as we think they do.
Yeah.
But that's where it starts. It's seeded internally, intrinsically, first with self. And that has been a lesson for me, because there have been times that I have denied myself, that I've set myself aside,
Yeah.
and it's hard to be an extension of that love if you don't love yourself first. So you show up first for yourself in that way. And then when you show up for others, you show up in a way where you make space for them to be exactly who they are, so that they can be human, so that they can show up with their wounds. Sometimes their wounds are open and they show it, and people don't know how to
Yeah.
respond to that. So when we do respond to it, we usually respond in a very defensive manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, she's crazy. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's always loud.
Yeah.
He's always attention seeking.
Right. Right.
But we that's an extension by allowing people to be who they are going to be. Because sometimes that gets lost too, right? It's just like, we want people to kind of fit into a space and a place and a mold. It makes us feel good, it makes us feel safe, it makes us feel comfortable, and that's unfair.
Yeah.
Right? It's unfair. If you look at a place like the Amazon, there are so many species. I mean, whether we talk about the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the insects, things that we will never see, that we've never heard of.
Yeah.
How do they make space for all of that in that ecosystem? It is a matter in which we show up in a manner where this is an ecosystem and we're making space for the weird, for the ugly in us. We're making
Yeah.
space for all of it. So if you make space for all of it, it doesn't mean you don't set boundaries.
Right.
But it means that you allow people to show up authentically. Then that is probably the easiest thing I can say. Show up for yourself in love first, and lick your wounds when you need to.
Yeah.
And licking your wounds is temporary, but putting salve on that wound and tending to that wound regularly, healing, if you will, is the thing that is going to be far more extensive as a practice.
Yeah.
Because that's when you get into other things, right? Like,
Right.
it's one thing to go, yeah, I'm working on a few things. It's another thing to go, hey, I was exploring my shadow self, and this is what I found out. I don't want to talk about that, so let's go ahead and, press that down.
Right.
But just being open as much as we can in that way where we can see the value, because everybody has something to give. Everybody has something to give, and it's so important. If you look at soil, it just looks like a pile of dirt until you start getting into the finer details of the minerals and the nutrients in the soil. That's us. Somebody is a mineral, somebody is a part of this ecosystem. So making room for people is how you show up in love. And making room for yourself, even when you're not happy with yourself, even when you let yourself down, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
Making room for that and being kind to yourself in that way. And that doesn't mean that you can't be firm. It doesn't mean that there's certain boundaries that you don't set for yourself. What it means is that, hey, I can show up authentically, and yes, this is a thing that I am diligently working on. Or I need to take a step back I need to give it, I need to give that room. I need to give that space.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means if you can't show up in the best way possible, being a bit more silent as you show up, and taking your time, getting back to that, because it doesn't mean you have to do it, right? Being open, but also understanding the word no.
Yeah.
Also knowing, that every door doesn't have to be open every time someone knocks.
I like that. You've hit so much depth and knowledge in that explanation, and it's always good to hear the different perspective about giving space and giving people at space. I mean, that's the whole mission with the running community, but it's the same, or with what we do here with Safe Space. But it's just like being very mindful of the different states that people are in within their respective space. And
Absolutely.
giving them that freedom and flexibility to be human. That's the part that really stuck out to me more so. And of course, I'm definitely my harshest critic by far. But I like that perspective. But needless to say, you truly exemplify love. That's it. There was no other word that fit perfectly for you. So I appreciate you as always.
I appreciate those 2 words you gave me, community love. I was like,
I'm telling
love is love, community is community, but
together, I'm like, you're the only person, but
I was getting a lot of flack after that.
I'm sure you did.
How'd you get 2 words? I was like, I got 2 words. You know you got 2 words. How'd you get 2 words?
I told everyone, I was like, I just pretend like I don't know what happened, but I called
I was
you
like,
Cap.
Chris gave me an old man pass, all right? He gave me the grandpa pass.
It's only because you lead by example in that, and there was no one else fit. And not to say that no one else deserved more than one word, but that's not the case. But just like your word exemplified.
Wait a minute, you said no one deserved another word? That way somebody can really give you a head.
Right. No, but there was your word choice so signified who you are and what you mean to not only us, but of course the Black Men Run, to the different communities you have, whether it's German Village, Eastern Run Club, you got your Bronzeville Active. You truly are an embodiment of love and community. It goes hand in hand with you. So I personally wanted to give you your flowers and tell you thank you. Personally speaking, you my dog. So like I truly look up to you and admire everything that you do.
That's so much love. I'm saying that. And in that, I really honestly, people go, oh yeah, I want to make the ancestors proud. I want to make my mother proud.
Yeah.
Even though she's not still breathing, she's still sitting right here listening to this conversation. Mm-hmm. I want to make my mother proud. I want to make my ancestors proud. And my name is an interesting name. It's Malik Abdullah. Mm. It's an Arabic name. Yeah. My father had many iterations of his life. I got a Muslim name during that period where he was a Muslim. I'm sorry, I was just thinking about Stevie Wonder's song,
fine.
Part-Time Lover. He was a part-time Muslim. So I got Malik Abdullah, which is a beautiful and deep name, but and you know this through your own studies, and Rose will tell you, naming ceremonies, especially in the African culture, was such a big deal.
Yeah.
But it was also a big deal in certain Western and other Eastern cultures as well, in the North. Like they had a serious thing around naming. Sometimes it'd be a group of women, quite often, and of course in African history, it was the elders, right? Yeah. And there were particular elders who were responsible for naming as well. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it was a group, or sometimes it was the matriarch or the patriarch. But the name was so important. And whether or not some people don't even know what their name means, and I get that, it's just a name. My name is Bill. I don't even know where it comes from. Even though my last name is Willoughby, which is, it's Old English. That's another story for another day. But my father named me that and told me what the meaning was when I was very young. I kind of lost the meaning. I remember my mother sitting me down and saying, you're a walking spirit. In my very young mind, I didn't know what it meant, but it felt really big and bright, right? It's like somebody flashed the sun at you for a second. And then it's like, that sounds so big and it sounds so royal. But then it was, later on, how do I live up to that? Malik is one of the 99 attributes of Allah. Allah is, of course, a name for the Most High God.
Yeah.
Malik means king. Some people give it a base interpretation as leader. The middle name is Abdullah. It means servant is Abdul. The end of that is LLAH, which is part of Allah. It means servant of Allah. So my name, in effect, is servant king to God. I would hope to live up to that in a way that when I show up, people go, "You're so calming." I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But for you to say you show up in love is even brighter and beautiful. It's like somebody shining that sun back in your face to say, "Well done, son."
Yeah.
And I hope that I continue in that pathway as much as I can, because we have so much energy. And sometimes I don't know how I'm showing up.
Yeah.
We're not always at our best selves because such is life. But I want to also be, if you will, true to the name that was given to me. True to the name that was given to me. I don't think you can be a leader without being in service. And I don't think you can be in service without approaching it with love. I think we are sent here to be heart practitioners. A heart-centered practice is showing up in love. And I would hope that I would do that as given my name by my mother, my father, and as being given a pathway by my ancestors, and the greatest ancestor of all, and that would be divine source, by whichever name we call divine source.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time as always. I love you, Cap. I appreciate you,
brother.
sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much.